Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another fine episode of Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We're back with the surprise episode 1 coverage of Last of Us Season 2, where we're going to be reviewing episodes 1 through 3 and our reaction to it. So yeah, here's your surprise. For the many of you who reached out asking if we do Last of Us coverage, your wish has been granted because we love you so much, and also because there ain't a lot on TV right now to cover episodically. There was only really a couple contenders for this spot right now. And Last of Us, the first 3 episodes, has wooed me after my reluctance to cover Season 2. It has wooed me. I'm all in. I'm back in, despite having played the video game. I can at least talk about certain spoilers now because we're 3 episodes through. We have all seen Joel get his head bashed in with the golf club. That was one of my top reasons for not wanting to cover this season.
Yeah.
But you can't deny that the show is incredibly well made. So we're going to go through it, kind of talk about it at a high level, and then we're going to get back to the episodic coverage of Last of Us through the rest of Season 2. So this will be the only one, for the most part, that will be a bunched up group of episodes. Am I wrong, Zach?
No, you were 100% correct. I know we kind of touched on some of episode 1 in our bonus coverage of what we're watching right now, but I am excited to dive into this. It's one of the few shows on right now that I'm actually excited for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun because I was watching it with people who hadn't played the game, like on this past Sunday. I was watching with my cousins. And, of course, you're asking me questions throughout, things that I obviously cannot answer. But I remember somebody was asking me leading up to episode 3, they were like, is Joel really dead? And I was like, oh, yeah, he's dead AF. Like, he is as dead as you can be. So he's gone.
Bro, he got, impaled in the neck with the golf club. Yeah, he's dead, dude.
I wonder how people feel about it. I would love to know your reactions, guys, to those of you who haven't played the game. What are your thoughts on Season 2 so far? How do you overall take the whole Joel death?
Bro, it's been very interesting. I mean, obviously, I've played the game as well. We've talked about this when we covered Season 1. But I wasn't sure if the show was going to keep me after Joel died, and I was surprisingly into this episode. It was done very well. I am still excited for episode 3, but to the question of how are people reacting if you haven't played the game, I don't know. I've seen some funny videos online over the last week or so where people are watching the show and they're like, yeah, man, it's so good. Last of Us Season 2 is great. It's so weird that it's only 2 episodes in this season, but it was good. They already did the finale because everyone wants to stop watching it because Joel's dead.
Well, I don't think anybody wants to stop watching it. Oddly enough, I think that the way they're doing it has been pretty great. I was really pleased this past episode 3, that they didn't waste a lot of time. These glasses are filthy, dear God. For the video watchers, I tried to put on my glasses and they're all fogged up. That Zach self-consciously cleans his glasses underneath the camera.
Me? I don't have glasses.
Look, that's what you were doing.
I was silencing my watch from dinging.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was really pleased that at episode 3, I thought we were gonna get a filler. I thought it was gonna be complete filler in the town, but no. To my surprise, they actually left to Seattle. Ellie and Dina, which we can talk a little bit about the casting too. But nonetheless, I just want to say I'm really happy that we're not wasting too much time. We got the big reveal that Dina's scouting report of the WLF, aka the Wolves, was very false. It's not a few people. It is a very large organization, as you're going to find out in the coming episodes. Although I do think that the show is not being a bit. I can't. This is the problem. Is that there's things I know, but let me just say, when you play the game, those whisperers that they made you kind of humanize, these little cult members with the little ginger girl who is carrying the hammer.
Yeah.
Who you're like, oh, poor little girl. Those people are the most terrifying people, period, with those little whispers. Because what you're going to notice is that there's multiple factions in
The Last of Us.
in the Last of Us. So like what Ellie is gonna encounter is not gonna just be WLF. It's gonna be a few different groups, and I don't think that's a major spoiler. Obviously, if you're seeing different factions, I don't think it's a
No,
spoiler.
and they kind of hinted on it, in this episode where the people like broke off and kind of
Yeah.
formed their own thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
we've got Wolf, we've got the Whistle people. Those are fun ones.
speaking of the little redhead girl, uh, I can't say too much, but I thought maybe that she was going to be a little bit more important, but turns out she's not.
Yeah,
'Cause she was dead. So I was wrong.
yeah,
I thought she
yeah.
would be a more pivotal character.
So did I. That's where I thought it was going. It sounds so cryptic talking about this, but yeah, unfortunately not. It was interesting though to see this angle of this group. Like it did make them feel a lot more human. It makes me dislike Wolf a lot more right now.
Yeah, it does, right? They're really driving up the fact that you need to hate the wolves, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about casting a little bit, man. Let's do the season 2 casting situation here. I'm happy with most of the selections. I know Bella Ramsey is getting a ton of hate, but
Yeah.
if I gotta say one thing, although she may not look exactly like Ellie from the video games, she definitely embodies the character of Ellie fantastically. Like
She
I
nails the
really
personality.
exactly. So to me, that's the most important thing. Like, and if we want to make the same point, Abby's character, she doesn't look like Abby from the game at all. Abby from the game is absolutely jacked. She does like she looks very, very, very manly. To be honest with you, to
Yeah.
the point where there's certain like side profile shots of Abby in the game where you're like, if you didn't see her feminine face, you'd be like, that's a dude. But they have a feminine woman playing Abby. And I'm watching, and I'm like, I wonder why they went this route as I'm watching season 2. But then I see her in the scene with Joel, and I see the way she freaking carried that scene, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
I wonder, like, these are the times where I wish I could talk to the showrunner and be like, what thought process went into casting her as Abby? Was it just that performance? Because her performance in that scene was incredible. So I just really thought I kind of play these scenarios in my head and I can't prove if they're right or wrong, but
Yeah.
maybe they had an actress who looked more like Abby from the game, but then they did that scene and what's her name? Caitlin Deaver. She just stole the scene and she was like, bro, we can't go away from casting this girl. She's just incredible. So kudos to her. I think the series is off to a great start, and I think the casting for the most part has been pretty terrific. Speaking of another character who doesn't look anything like she does in the game, Isabella Merced, who plays Dina, I think she's great, super cute too. My favorite casting in the entire series, do you know who it is?
Tommy?
No, but close. I do like Gabriel Luna as Tommy, who I think Gabriel Luna just got like a massive casting into a Marvel
Really?
series. Yeah, he just got. Let me see. There was like a big story about him recently.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen much that he's in recently.
I could be wrong. I might be confusing him with somebody else, but I could have swore he had a new something in Marvel.
I don't see anything. He's in that Love, Death, and Robots.
Okay, he
show
was
for, like, one
casted as Ghost Rider,
Oh, that's interesting.
but I don't think that was the story I was thinking about. No, but my favorite casting. Do you want to keep guessing, or do you want me to just say?
Just say I don't know if I'm gonna guess. If you say the thing that I literally have queued up next, I'll be surprised.
Jesse. The casting of Jesse
Okay.
to me is my personal favorite. Young Mazzino, who also has a dope name. Is that actually his real name?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I know, it is.
Young Mazzino. What a dope name. I know him from Beef, which I did cover on Netflix, which came out I think a year or two ago. I think 2 years ago at this point. And he plays the younger brother, Paul, I think was his name in Beef. Yeah, Paul Cho. Great role. And he's like, to me, just about as good as you can get in terms of casting Jesse for this.
He is really good in the show so far. I do like his character.
Yeah, yeah. So Zach, give me your episodes 1 through 3 impression so far of where we're going from here. What stands out? How do you like the pacing so far? And
So far, the pacing's great. I'm gonna be honest. Like these episodes have all of like the nice, warm, heartfelt moments. The things that you kind of need to be touch and go in. Like we had a nice moment of silence in this episode with Joel's passing, but man, it's right back to the action, and I feel like that's been the case in like all of these so far. First episode was really great. Interesting to see. I mean, how quickly everybody got to Jackson. That was nice. I will say, going into episode 2, that one was just rough. Like, because playing the game, like, it's going to be a heartbreaking episode. You just know it. But it was such a fun watch. Like, with all of the zombies, with the big battle, it kind of gave me what's the name of that episode? The Long Night from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, it did give some vibes with the Long Night.
Yeah, that's what came to mind throughout that episode. But this
Is
episode,
are you thinking the Long Night, or are you thinking of Hard Home?
it's the one where the Night King is at Winterfell.
Oh, that's the actual battle, no?
Yeah, the battle. Episode 2 felt like the battle to me. Yeah, like the battle at Winterfell from Game of Thrones.
So to me, the scene that reminded me of it was when Abby is standing in the snow, and all of them start coming to life. Essentially, like they're thawing out.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
That was horrifying. Which, for those, we can say it because it's happened already. That invasion of Jackson does not occur in the game. That is something that's a device that they used to ramp up the action, and I think it was really well suited for. It made the episode. It made everything in the episode flow a little bit better, and I think it made Joel's death sting a little bit less because of the chaos occurring and the amount of people who were dying on this day.
Yeah,
it almost made it like a natural thing that was going to occur. Although part of me wished, and part of me also wished in the game that Joel spoke up a little bit more for himself before Abby kills him.
Yeah,
which is, I know he killed her father and killed half the hospital.
Yeah.
But can we not discuss about how ridiculous the plan was to, like, with less than a day of, assessing Ellie or thinking of a different game plan, that they just absolutely had to kill essentially his, what would you call, like not a blood daughter, but like, an adopted daughter of his, right?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said like a stepdaughter, you mean?
No, like an adopted daughter. Yeah, like something like that. And that's like your first thing, and you expect this guy to just be perfectly cool with it,
Yeah.
I think that needs to be talked about a little bit more. And I wish Joel would have at least said something to this whole group of people, being like, what did you want? They were going to kill my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
There was no ulterior, an alternate plan I was presented with. I show up, I try to save everybody, and they want to kill my daughter. What would you have done?
Yeah, like I feel his side of the story is actually fairly understandable and relatable. Like, I mean, if you were in that situation, wouldn't you want to do that too? You'd want to rampage through there and kill everybody to
of course,
not let your daughter die. Yeah,
of course. But the thing is that, remember we talked about this in season 1, that I absolutely couldn't stand that angle with Joel, that he was like this deranged psychopath who just occasionally he snaps and kills people without remorse. Like, they were really driving that home,
Yeah.
And I don't think it was convincing based on his actions, that we hadn't seen that wasn't consistent with what we had seen from him. But the show was hell bent on driving that point, because you have to make this whole Abby story a thing.
Yeah. I will say Abby just shooting Joel and getting down to business that quickly felt a little abrupt to me.
Did it?
It did. I mean, like, what was this? It was years later, first off. And you guys just started the conversation. You just jumped straight into it. Like there was not a lot of dialogue there. There was not, like, I would have I would have expected after, let's say, 5 years passing, this guy did just kind of like selflessly save your life.
Well, that's why I think it makes sense, because if you were having a hard time in your mind or conflicted a little bit in shooting somebody who just saved your life, how would you have to do it? You'd have to do it quick and not think about it too much. That's the problem, like, with all these situations. Let's talk about Breaking Bad again. We'll do a Breaking Bad plug. What's Walter's issue with the guy in the basement? You know, it's the fact that he's allowing this guy to essentially work on his emotions, right?
Yeah.
And that's like, as it happens, he's more and more conflicted and more conflicted. Like, obviously, the right thing to do is to let the person go, right? In this situation too, Abby, you know, what do you do in that situation? You can understand her emotions, but at the same time, you do got to be like, okay, they were gonna kill. Like, the thing is, the big thing about Abby's storyline is he killed soldiers, right? He killed 18 soldiers, or 14 or 18, I forget the number.
It was out there.
The whole thing is that he killed an innocent man, that he killed a doctor. But if I'm not mistaken, it was the doctor who came up with the plan to kill his daughter. So, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
How about like spend a week at least? How about we talk it over a bit? The world's already over. What's the hurry to kill Ellie?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm still a little bitter about how quickly they rushed through that whole scene.
Oh, yeah, same here.
At the end of season 1.
Same here.
I needed that to be drug out a little more. I needed to feel like it was more than just a mid-season montage of somebody going manic and just killing a bunch of people.
To be honest, what they should have done is, because there's different ways, like when you go into that hospital room in the game, there's a multitude of ways you can kill that guy. Okay? First and foremost, the show doesn't show you. I think in the game he raises a scalpel.
Yeah, that's what I remember too.
Okay? So he raises a scalpel in self-defense or in threat to Ellie, who's passed out on the table. So in the game, it doesn't feel like what they do in the show, where Joel's just like, raise up a pistol blindly. And Abby's like, they say you didn't even look him in the eyes when you shot him. I'm like, bullshit. Like, in the game, he raised a scalpel, girl, all right? And by the way, some of the players who are deranged out there, some of those, have you ever seen some of the montages of like that scene? No. Some people go in there with a flamethrower. Because you can get the flamethrower in the game, so you technically could torch the doctor. I don't think I'm making that one up, but that might have been a mod. I don't know.
That's funny though.
Yeah.
How did you or like is not the right word there. How did you feel about the whole Joel sequence getting killed by Abby? Like, do you think they did it justice?
Yeah, I think terrifically so. I think I can talk about it more when the season's over. But I think it has to go this way, right? Because, you know, here's the theme that they're driving, is that Ellie is a lot like Joel, and Tommy's concerned that Ellie's gonna go down this self-destructive path like Joel would go down, where vengeance destroys your soul.
Yeah.
And that is the theme of the show, is that vengeance is a vicious cycle, you know, in a sense. That is kind of, you know, what they're driving home in the first 3 episodes so far. You do need to have a motivation, right? Like, it's like the game. You're mounting up. You're ready to load up the horse. You're going to go hunt this chick down, right? Sorry to our audience members who hate when I use the word chick, but that's the reason. Like, you know, I can't deal with y'all with the stupidities out there in the comments. Like, you know, for real.
Let's get Abby.
Yeah, you want to mount up and go get Abby. So you got to hate the wolves. And the only way to hate the wolves is to make the wolves hateable. You make a guy like Manny who's hateable, who's kicking Ellie right straight in the rib cage, or calling Joel a freaking pendejo, a coward, while he's already dead, with a freaking golf club sticking out of his, you know, jugular.
Right? Manny was the person I thought you were going to say was your favorite casting. Manny.
I think it's a great casting. But the thing is, when I say great casting, sometimes I tend to gravitate towards characters I like. And in this case, I remembered how much I hated this guy. Yeah. So there's, you know, you just remember how much you hate certain characters. But I would have to see all the characters side by side from the game, because it's been like several years since I've played the game, to see how they did on the casting. I do recall there being a character with a shaved head like that. Her name is Nora or something like that. Or am I mistaken? Am I making that up in my head?
Nora Harris. I think that was a character.
Let me see.
Yeah, supporting character in Abby's story.
Oh, I'm completely wrong. She did not look anything like the shaved girl head.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Whatever.
but the girl that you're talking about though is
I think she fits the role. Like, she looks badass. Like, so I'm just like, I think she fits military, Seattle, hipster military
yeah.
out of Seattle.
She's in what's that Sabrina movie with Kiernan Shipka?
Never seen it.
Or the show, the TV show, sorry.
Never heard of it.
Sabrina?
The reboot of Sabrina, like the old show
Yeah.
from like the
Yeah.
way back in the day.
Yeah, Sabrina with
Hold on. Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
yeah, she's the witch. It's they remade Sabrina. Kiernan Shipka plays Sabrina.
Uh-huh.
Um
Kiernan Shipka's the blonde girl, right? Who plays Sabrina originally?
No. Kiernan Shipka is Don Draper's daughter, bro.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kiernan Shipka.
Yeah.
My bad. Who's the original girl who played Sabrina?
I don't remember, but I think the original aunts play the aunts in this as well, which was actually very interesting because the show's so much darker than like Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Kiernan Shipka has grown up.
Yes, she has. But anyways, the gal that plays Nora is also in
Melissa Joan Hart. That's right. Of course, it's Melissa Joan Hart. My millennial sense should be a lot better at this, but this was more of my sister's type of show. Yeah, in my house, my sister liked Full House. I think she liked Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I couldn't stand Full House. Every time I got home,
I was not a Full House fan either.
I didn't mind it. I thought Uncle Jesse was super cool, and I thought his wife was super pretty. Rebecca, what was it?
I haven't watched it enough to know them all by names.
And then I thought Uncle Joey was the most annoying character of all time in the history of TV. The cut it out. That drove me insane. Yeah, Aunt Rebecca.
Yeah. Anyways.
What was your point with this girl?
I was just saying she plays in that Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. She plays somebody named Prudence. That's what I know her for primarily.
I'll tell you, what sequence I loved in this episode was the Abby running away from the horde of clickers, and they did that scene with the fence being pushed in. Mm-hmm. I think that's identical to the game, if I'm not mistaken. I remember a moment like that in the game where you're running and you're going down the fence, and the whole time I watched the scene, and I'm like, all right, they're gonna come from the left now.
Mm-hmm. In episode 2, yeah, 100%. The moment I saw the scene, like everything comes flooding back to you if you've played the game, where you're like, oh my god, I know what's gonna happen. It's funny because I remember the scene so vividly, but I forgot who the character was that you were playing as during that whole like rampage until she showed up next to the fence. I'm like, oh, they're coming. And I'll say that was stressful. Watching her crawl through that thing, I can't even imagine.
I was building the computer chair that I'm sitting on right now. As I was watching the show, I had to pause it in that moment because I could not concentrate. Everything was so chaotic in the scene that I couldn't concentrate. Didn't we spend a lot more time in the 7-Eleven weed dispensary in the game? That was like a bigger thing.
Yeah, I feel like it was a bigger thing, or like a recurring thing. Maybe it happened a couple times.
That was a fun scene in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That whole bit. I could have swore, let me not say. I really have to. I'm not used to covering shows that I know everything about at this point. So
it is hard to like know like how much do you withhold, but then at the same time it's like you played the game 5+ years ago.
Yeah, I was a little bit annoyed with Ellie. How she is typical Ellie. Ellie can hold a hell of a grudge. Mm-hmm. Her grudge with Seth, who was pretty much calling him the homophobe at the bar in episode 1, who was like calling him a bunch of dykes, I think he said.
Yeah, he called him dykes.
But then that was their number one ally at the end, and he gives her a sandwich, and then he trades. I like the scene where he's gonna give her the sniper, and he says, "Trade, it's better."
Yeah,
trade. But then I was wondering, are they gonna really send this guy with them with the cane? I was like, are they gonna do this? was like, there's no way he'd be a liability out there. I just wonder sometimes. I get curious to see how much they're going to deviate. Part of me hoped and wished that they would just go so far as to deviate and not kill Joel. But
I know. I kind of wish that too, but then there would be no plot for season 2. You'd have to change the entire plot.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, man.
Yeah, I was going into it wondering. I was like, are they gonna like rip this out from underneath their feet and like just throw everybody off and do something different? But no, they stayed true. It's incredible how true they are staying to the storyline in the game. I mean, obviously there's some liberties that they take in their storytelling, throughout this, but all of the main points, like the broad strokes, are all there.
Did she take her guitar with her to Seattle?
I don't remember her taking her guitar. I feel like
in the game she did, but in the show I don't think.
Did she in the game? I feel like she found another guitar when she was there.
Oh, did she? Was that what it was?
Yeah, I feel like that was the case. Yeah.
I love the little simple details like the revolver.
Mm-hmm. And the watch. Right, like
the watch.
Those mementos were great. That was, for having a morning sequence in a game, I do remember it being done pretty well.
A morning sequence?
Yeah, like when you gotta like kind of. I feel like I remember playing Ellie, and you're doing the same kind of thing that she did in this episode, where you're walking through the house, and it was like. You go and you look at the watch, you put the watch on, and you go and you grab the guitar, and you start playing a guitar. And it's like this like weird, like
I was scared I was gonna miss something. Like there was an item I was supposed to take that I was gonna miss.
Yeah, but I just remember it being well done for a game. I didn't expect it. Like normally games are super fast paced, and you just move on from death.
What do you think about the Shrink's character? She's like very prominent. Gale.
Catherine O'Hara.
Not
the casting I really would have expected, honestly. Like that one always throws me. But I think she does a good job.
Yeah. Did you like how central she is to the whole story, or do you find it a little bit like wondering how she's gonna play in?
I don't mind it. I don't have any strong opinions on her character. She's there to just kind of like emotionally like move everybody along, and I feel like explain some of the subtext that's going on. I did like her line in this episode, episode 3, where she was talking to Tommy and was basically telling him like I don't think Joel put her down this path. Like they were walking side by side. Like she was already there. I liked that moment. Kind of felt nice, like there was some closure in that or something for Tommy.
Yeah, agreed. So there's only 7 episodes in this season.
Is there really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man, we're on episode 3. So next episode's mid season already.
Yep,
that's nuts.
So I know exactly where season 2 is gonna end. I think.
Do you think they're gonna push this beyond season 2? I feel like they've got to.
Oh heck yeah. Yeah. No, this is a 2-parter, 100%, 2-parter.
Oh, you think they're gonna you think they're gonna take the second game and break that into 2 seasons? I was thinking.
Oh yeah, no, they're not wrapping up the whole game in 4 episodes. There's no way in hell.
Well, they did progress very rapidly in this, but I will say the second game is long as hell.
No, dude, we are bound to get a little bit more of a deeper exploration of the world of Last of Us in these next 4 episodes. I think we might have been a little bit spoiled in these first 3, and I would be shocked if the pacing is very fast in the next 4. I think we'll get episodes perhaps where we don't see a lot of Ellie.
I think there world building on Abby's side.
Yeah, world building on Abby's side, world building the Whisperer side, world building a bunch of different things. Or I could be completely wrong. I literally could be completely wrong, and it might be action-packed till the very end. But we'll see. There's a lot to do still. So
yeah. I feel like they could go either way with it, and it would still be good. Like I feel like there's enough here to drag it out. Though it might, yeah, I don't know. It might start to feel a little redundant. Like if like we can't have a bunch of episodes that are just like people fighting zombies. Like this is
No, it
very
won't. It
much
won't be that.
No,
It
this is
won't be
very
that.
much like a drama inside of a world that just happens to have zombies. Like that's kind of what it feels
I
like.
think I was completely wrong about season 2 of Last of Us. I think I wasn't looking forward to it. As someone who played the game, I wasn't looking forward to it. I can talk more deeply about that at the end of the season, literally the end of the second part of whatever the season is, as to why, and I can revisit this take. But I think my take on why I didn't want to cover it was completely off base, and I think that, believe it or not, this story in the second game plays out better as a TV show than it did as a game, for a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, and I can't say too much, but the revenge arc is always something that's super satisfying in a TV show. And now, not just that, but the uphill climb of Ellie versus an entire city of various factions that are a lot bigger than what she's expecting it to be. And not to mention, you don't really see a lot of female action heroes, so to speak. So they're doing that too, where it's going to be really interesting. Like, they have an opportunity to be super iconic with an original character, and to see, I don't know, I think it works really well. And even me, who knows everything that's going to happen in this second season, am excited for her vendetta in Seattle, because there's multiple people in Abby's group that killed Joel. So there's multiple loose ends in that group that could lead to Abby. So that's a really fun storyline to go with when you have a shorter amount of time to work with. I think the game, it's a freaking 40, 50-hour game.
Oh my
right?
God, it is a slog. Like you are in there for a while.
But imagine you condense those 40, 50 hours into 7, or not 7, maybe 14.
Yeah.
You got action packed. I mean, you can condense it into the very best parts, and I think it's gonna be maybe rivaling season 1 when it's all said and done with this thing. So, yeah, I changed my mind. Literally, as I'm watching the end of episode 3 yesterday, I texted you, F it, let's cover it episodically. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, it was good. I was trying to wait out to see if episode 3 kept me, and it did. Like, I'm super into it. I do think you're right. Like, they may split the second game into 2 seasons. I see season 3 was greenlit before season 2 even premiered. So
yeah, that's I didn't even know that, but it's just common sense, knowing how far we have to go.
Yeah.
There's way too much to do. So, guys, I will say temper expectations, because you probably will get a cliffhanger. I don't know what the cliffhanger will be for the end of the season, but just know this is not a 1-season story to be told. This is I think they could wrap the show though after the next season.
So that's where I was going when I was asking, do you think they're gonna continue this into like another season or something? I didn't mean split the game, though. That does sound very plausible. But let's say they split the game into seasons 2 and 3. Do you think they will carry the story past the game, or do you think this is gonna come together and just end and just be like this, I don't know, this piece of art?
I would love it to just be a piece of art for once and not do a season 4. Just let it sit, and more, I'm kind of falling in love with that idea of just let's start treating TV shows like film and not be worried about 5 to 7 seasons.
Yes.
I understand Last of Us will probably have 5 to 7 seasons, because they will make a Last of Us 3, and then we will get a new season of Last of Us eventually, because it doesn't always have to stick to the world of Ellie. It could always move on to other characters, like The Walking Dead did, which is not a really good example because you've seen the downhill of that story-wise, in my opinion. But what would have been really fun is if we would have done if we would have live streamed playing Last of Us 2. Like, technically we could cover this show and do like 2 episodes a week, do one that's non-spoiler and then one that is spoiler, and then do a playthrough of Last of Us 2, like an actual live stream.
Yeah, but
where people could watch.
I feel like there's no way you could play through enough of the game to keep up with the show.
Oh yeah, you could. 100%. You'd have to dedicate some serious time though.
Yeah, at least 3-4 hours a week. It sounds like a lot once you have a kid. That's a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a buddy of mine playing through it right now for the first time. He's loving
Game 1 or game 2?
it too.
I'm very curious to see what he thinks.
I was messing with him because I told him, listen, there's a way that you can save Joel. He doesn't have to die. So if he dies, you messed up somewhere. You can go back and try to find like the perfect way. You got to play it perfect in order to save him. So I think he's still playing, trying to save Joel.
That's
All right.
unfortunate. You know,
Let's go ahead.
I've got to call out, because you haven't watched Chernobyl yet, have you?
No, but good. I like where you're going with this little tidbit of yours.
Yeah. So Chernobyl. So the first time we were covering this, I was actually watching Chernobyl around the same time. I told you should watch it. You should still watch it. But Chernobyl it's on HBO Max as well. It's also created by Craig Mazin, who's one of the creators of the show here. It's a really good story. Like it's just so well made. It's got Jared Harris in it, who I love. I know you love. He's from Mad Men as well. But it is a nice watch through. I want to say it's like 5, maybe 7 episodes or so. It's just a 1-season thing, so it's a quick in and out. But I was super sucked in it. I think I binged that thing in like 2 days. So if you're loving this, just give that one a watch.
I gotta give it a go. You gotta really be in the mood for a story about Chernobyl. You know what I mean? That's kind of the.
I know what you mean, but it's just done so well. It's I don't know. It's not as depressing as I feel like you may think it is.
Okay.
Like the story does pull you in. It gets you into what goes on without just making you feel disgusting the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
shall we talk about categories?
let's do it. We haven't done that in a while.
This is like a 3-episode category thing.
Oh my god, yeah.
This will be tough.
Let's cover. Let's start with favorite character.
This will be tough. I'm gonna have to go and say Joel in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna have to go and say
Tommy in episode 2 for me. I'm with you on Joel in episode 1.
I go, so performance-wise, you go Abby and Ellie. Personal favorite, I go Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 3 goes to Miss Dina.
Really? Dina?
Yeah, it goes to Dina.
She's good. I would give episode 3 to Ellie, to be honest. This is one of the few episodes.
Well, performance-wise to Ellie, yes. But
Yeah.
I'm saying personal favorite to Dina because of
That's fine.
what she's trying to navigate. So she's got her friend / lover here, who she knows is a hothead, and so she's keeping information from her. She's keeping information from her and from Tommy, they're both kind of 2 peas in a pod, right? And then she's also the supportive friend who's there at the hospital all the time. She's the friend who goes with her to freaking Seattle. I mean, dude, if your buddy goes on horseback with you to Seattle on a vendetta mission, that's a friend right there. So
if my buddy goes on horseback to me to Seattle, he's riding a different horse, though. We're not going to fit on that same horse.
you aren't riding Shimmer all the way to Seattle?
No, we're not riding Shimmer, bro. She is good, though, in this. Dina's really good. I was just going to say, though, like, the reason I picked Ellie...
fire. Those chocolate chip cookies,
they look
great.
Homemade, which I know they were, but...
soft-baked cookies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It looked like a crumble cookie, to be honest with you.
It looked great.
Ellie. I feel a little bad for Ellie because Dina's like a 10. Like, she's like mad cute. And she's just playing the field. Like Dina's all over the place, bro. She's with Jesse. She's with Ellie. God knows who else she's with in that town. And Ellie's there just like, puppy dog. Please, I want to bed now.
Yeah.
I'm here.
A solid 6. Yeah.
How did they not see her bites? I understand she made it look like it wasn't a bite maybe, but she was in the hospital for a long time.
She was in the hospital for 3 months. We didn't talk about that in this episode yet. 3 months in the hospital is a long time for getting kicked in the ribs. Like, what'd she do? Have frostbite too?
I think we glossed over that a little bit too. I think the show glossed over that a bit too much.
Yeah, it was literally like, it was in the subtitle. It was like 3 months later. And then I thought she was just like walking in for an appointment. But no, Dina comes over and she's like, when did they let you out? Like 30 minutes ago? She was literally in there for 3 months. I don't understand that.
Well, to be honest, I think it might have been a little bit more mental breakdown.
She did. It could be. I mean, she did wake up the one time at the beginning of this episode, like she was just screaming, like she was having visions.
Understandably so. Imagine witnessing what she witnessed.
Yeah,
that is probably the most traumatic thing one could probably witness.
Mm-hmm.
A loved one being beaten to death in front of you and killed brutally. That's with no context, by the way.
Oh, none whatsoever, yeah.
None. It's just like these people are strangers to her. She has no idea who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
It is.
Yeah. By the way, we're like glossing over the fact that Pedro Pascal absolutely had a crazy performance in that episode. That look on his face as he's dead on the floor is haunting.
I will say, Pedro Pascal's really great at dying. I mean,
he's probably tired. He's probably tired of hearing that.
But it's good though. Look, it's a compliment, right? Because I wouldn't feel that way if he didn't do such a good job portraying the character to make you love the character.
It honestly is. It feels better having played the game. Had I not known that was coming, I would have been a lot more angry about it. So the fact that I've had years to kind of deal with this, I'm like Ellie in the hospital.
You've been legitimately going to therapy with Gail. Yeah.
Yeah, me and you both. We played this game. We've been in the hospital like Ellie for years in order to build up to be able to watch this moment. And then we just watch everyone else suffer on the couch like, you love him, right? He's great, huh? Great father figure. Watch him get beaten to death with a golf club. If I was him, I would have posted the next day on Instagram with Abby at the golf course, like getting a couple swings in.
That'd have been hilarious, though.
That would have been funny.
That's a good campaign.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's favorite character. How about favorite scene? We'll do favorite scene from each episode. Also a tough one, man. It's such a tough one with
I did like the whole bit of, what did you do to her, Joel? Did you hurt her? Did you do something? I saved her.
Yeah.
With the one tear rolling down his face.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, he really killed those scenes. He stole that.
I thought that scene and the New Year's party scene from episode 1 were the two best scenes. And then, am I rattling off mine and then you're going to rattle off yours?
I mean, I'll jump in on the first one then as well, I guess. My least favorite was... Well, my least favorite character in episode 1 was actually Ellie. I was not a fan of her
definitely.
in that episode.
She was unbearably unlikable in episode 1.
Oh, yes. Which I also remember being sort of a theme in the game, too. So
same thing in the game.
Yeah. Favorite scene, though, from episode 1, I will agree. It was Gail and Joel in their little session. I like having those heartfelt moments every now and then. So that was good. I like that. How about episode 2? That one's tough.
Well, episode 2 is tough because the whole thing was a masterpiece. So
it was. The whole thing felt like one massive scene.
It really did. It was spectacularly made. I will say the scene that sticks out to me a lot is Abby in the middle of that lake. Mm-hmm. The water's kind of moving. It's a glacial water type of moving.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the clicker head go.
Yeah.
That was horrifying to me. And then running from the clickers, climbing the ladder, kicking the clicker in the face, and then the fence thing. I mean, the whole episode was fantastic.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
If I'm going off of the scenes that were just most memorable, it's Tommy with the flamethrower fighting the bloater, and
Yeah, that was horrifying. Even
that was
though like
terrifying. I was getting worried.
Even though I knew Tommy was gonna survive that encounter, I was still a little bit like, wait a minute,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a bloater taken down like this before. That's not a bloater, by the way. That's
You sure it's not a bloater?
isn't the bloater the one that blows up? Like the stomach blows up?
You might be right.
I don't know what the hell that thing is called. Berserker? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I love the scene, by the way, of when Jesse goes over to pick up Ellie for the patrol.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What'd you do, Ellie?" "She kissed me." And he goes, "Wow. Wow. We've been broken up a week." He's like, "I'm just kidding. I already knew about that shit. I don't care." And then that's from the game when he comes back into the door and he goes, "It is pretty effed up, though."
Yeah.
I thought that was.
I remember that. That was funny.
Yeah, that was good.
And yeah, I believe it was a bloater.
That's a bloater? Okay.
Yeah, that was a bloater. That was a big
There's
one.
a lot of them to keep track of.
There really is. And they're all terrifying in their own way. It's truly incredible. The bloater seems stronger than I expected it to be completely honest.
I'd be changing my underwear every 2 seconds in this Last of Us world.
You wouldn't even be wearing any underwear. Like, forget
No,
it.
I'd be
There's no
free
point.
balling, 100%. You shit my pants the whole time. Just have an open hole in the back.
I'd probably be pretty damn efficient, though.
Yeah. Oh, you have a hole in your pants. Oh,
You really want to know? All right.
You'll see.
Yeah, well, it's between Tommy and the bloater, and I mean, it's Abby and Joel. Like, it sucks. It's so painful, but
Yeah.
it's hard. You can't top that really in episode 2.
No, I don't think so. Episode 3, you go Ellie and Dina, probably. I thought Seth was good. Episode 3.
I liked Seth in this. You know what would have been funny?
Someone comes in here and shoot your brother, and you just open your doors.
Well, that was great. It wouldn't have been funny, but if they actually did kind of deviate from the game here, and Seth did go on that journey, can you imagine the dynamic on that road trip?
Yeah, it would have been like.
So what was it? 1 to 10. Shut the fuck up. Oh, that's funny. Well,
all right.
Any lines that stood out to you? And that's the last category.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I mean, look, there's a couple. I saved her from episode 1.
My favorite part was when Joel's just like, "Would you just shut up and do it?"
Yeah.
Just shut up already. Shut
true.
up. Stop your little James Bond villain speech and just shut up and do it. That was probably the most satisfying.
That's
thing
fair. I like that a lot. Yeah. That's the line winner from episode 2. The line winner from episode 1 for me is the "I saved her" line. Episode
I did like
3.
I did like what Ellie says, like, "Look, me and Joel have our stuff, like, but we'll always be, pretty much like we'll always be good no matter what.
Yeah.
You know? We'll always have our crap, but we'll always be good."
Which is just so accurate with family, though, right?
Totally. It's a family. Yeah. It's just a family thing, you know? Like, yeah, we'll always have we'll have our dynamic, but we'll always be family, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it all the more devastating because she really wasn't able to make peace with Joel. She was still holding that grudge against him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes his death all the more tormenting for Ellie because she's holding that over his head. And then she finds out that he was killed for saving her. You know? Yeah. So you imagine what that does to you if you're Ellie. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think so much of the storyline right now is just about closure, really. Revenge, but closure at the end of that. That's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, totally. Any other categories? I would like to talk a little bit about some stuff I've watched in the last few weeks.
Not unless you got any that stand out from episode 3 in terms of top lines, but no. That's the last category. Okay. I think we talked about this before. This isn't a very line-heavy show. Every now and then there's a really good one-liner, but it's just much more about action, story, characters, incredible scenes.
I don't know if that's true. I just think that I watched 3 episodes, so it's hard for me to.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I do think it's a well-written show for the most part.
Well, I'm not saying it's not well written. It's just like it's not one of those shows for me, at least, where like a specific line in the episode just always jumps out at you. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hear you.
So what you been watching?
Two things that come to mind. Well, actually, no, four things that come to mind. I started The Studio on Apple TV. Very good. Has very heavy Birdman vibes. Reminds me a bit of Entourage. Kind of would like to talk about that show a little bit in a future episode.
How far into that show are you? Because I'm all caught up.
Two episodes. When the Oneer episode was absolutely driving me insane. If you ever had
it was.
It was going. I was going nuts. I've never had, in working in production, I haven't had a client on set or a producer on set that was that like was to that degree. Obviously, no,
Yeah.
he was a caricature of like the worst thing that one could be on set. But my goodness, he was getting on my nerves. I was getting that show gives you anxiety when you're watching it because of the score and everything.
Really does.
It's just never ending. His lack of self-awareness is incredible in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been watching Friends and Neighbors, which we talked about in our TV catch-up episode, which you could catch on our channel. Fun show. Not incredibly deep, but a fun watch so far. So good. I do look forward to it every week. It is appointment television at the moment. We'll see if it continues that way. The best two things I've watched in the last 2 weeks.
Oh boy.
I saw a Manchester United documentary called The 99 that was made in 2024 on Amazon Prime. 3 episodes. It covers their 1999 season where they attempt to win the treble, to become the first Premier League team to win the treble. If you're not familiar with what happens, I'm not going to say much. One of the best sports documentaries I've ever watched. I'm also a Manchester United fan, so I may be a little biased, but I think it's one of the best documentaries I've ever watched in terms of sports. And last, I think the hype train was justified. The movie Sinners was incredible. At least I personally enjoyed it a lot. I thought maybe it was a little bit rushed at the end to the point we were making earlier in this episode about things just being a piece of art. Would have been nice to maybe see this as a 2 or 3 episode miniseries. I think we need to start normalizing that in theaters. I think sometimes a movie is so dense and it could be explored a little bit more that why not pay $30 and have 2 tickets to go watch Sinners 1 week and then go watch part 2 another day. Because nobody's going to sit in the theaters for 6 hours. But what if you would go, let's say I go matinee Friday, and then I'm going to go matinee the following Friday to see part 2. I would do that in a heartbeat. And I just felt that there was a bit of the movie that felt a little rushed. But overall, really fun watch. Really inspiring, too. And I was really applauding Ryan Coogler in my head while I'm watching it. Like, just the dude had a vision. He executed the whole. Everybody did their thing. Michael B. Jordan was probably his best role I've ever seen him play. There's times where I see him act and I wonder about his range. I think like the best role I've seen him in was probably his first major movie, which was Fruitvale Station. But in this movie, this is his best role so far, in my opinion, hands down. And I think I've seen every movie he's been in for the most part, so I don't say that lightly.
Nice.
Except for Creed 3 or something. I don't think I saw Creed 3. So.
Sinners is on my list to watch. I haven't gotten there yet.
Make sure you watch it in theaters. I will tell you that. It is a movie to be watched in theaters. To be watched in a theater that has great surround sound. If you can get an IMAX screen, great. If you have to settle for a Dolby Atmos, I would almost say I really enjoyed watching it in Dolby Atmos. That I don't know if I would have enjoyed it more in IMAX because the sound and the color and what I was watching was so nice that there's a movie that gets me when I'm just in there and I'm sucked in and I'm just like in this room and I'm literally being transported to another place with the film. That it's just, I like when a film's able to take me there. I almost want to make like a list of movies that have made me feel that way. in theaters, but you know.
I am interested in the concept of breaking that up into like a part 1 and part 2, even for a movie, because I personally I like the idea of a long movie. However, I've found it increasingly hard to invest that much time in one sitting. And so if you have like, you know, some point within the movie where you can just actually take a break now, like an intermission.
Well, the problem is that most people watch movies from home nowadays.
Yeah.
And movies are not meant to be watched at home. There's too many distractions. You got this thing that doesn't ever stop. Okay, this has become a disaster.
Yeah.
For society.
We're talking about the cell phone if you're listening.
The cell phone. It's a great tool. I mean, we need it for everything. It's fantastic. I'm not saying like I would want to live in a world without it. But movies are not meant to be watched with so much distraction that you can get up to go to your fridge. Like, no, it's meant to be that you're in a room. It's a communal experience, and that's what it's about. It's magic in a dark room in a sense, and you really can't recreate that at home. Maybe you can if you get the Philips.
If you got a lot of money, yeah, maybe.
If you get those Philips lights, and you get those nice different colored lights. I will say, shout out to my cousin. I was watching The Last of Us at their place. They had like the whole Philip lights behind the TV that react to the scene.
To what's on screen. That's
it was
cool.
It was great. Yeah, they had a surround sound going on. I had clickers like in my ear. It was great.
That's terrifying.
Fantastic.
You'd be looking over your shoulder like nobody's business.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I will say studio. I'm watching as well. I'm not as into it right now. I am all caught up. Like I'm kind of 50-50 on it, like if I like it or not. The Neighbors is really a fun watch. I do enjoy that, so I'll agree with you there. The other two I haven't seen yet, so.
Only thing with Neighbors is just give it a rest of trying to make the ex-wife likable. Give it a rest already. Boo-hoo, it's his fault that she did that. Good Lord,
I haven't seen the latest episode of Friends and Neighbors,
just
but
a sob fest. Like, he didn't pay attention to me for 18 years. Like, okay, and you had to go bang my best friend. Are you crazy? And like, oh, we're meant to feel bad like this. Like she is the victim. Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, any other closing thoughts?
No, my thoughts are completely closed.
Love it. Well, they'll be open again in about 1 week.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to this episode of Story Archives. You can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify primarily. You can visit us on YouTube at Soapbox Podcast Network, or you can visit our website at soapbox.house where you find links to this show on all of the platforms. What's so funny?
Can you open the episode song with the whispers? Like
I don't think I can. I feel like we get in trouble for that again, you know.
I don't know. I think we can get away with that one. I think.
You can find that. I mean, I don't think
the
the actual whistles are like copyright, so maybe.
Yeah, get the whistles and just put them over the track to start the episode.
Yeah, why not? We'll leave this in because you can hear our brainstorming here. Why not?
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Have a great week and enjoy the next episode. Last of Us. Have a good Cinco de Mayo and May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Amen. All right. Have a good one. Peace.